Have you ever felt like someone was pulling the strings behind the scenes, influencing your decisions without you even realizing it? Manipulation is an art as old as time, but the tactics used today are more subtle, clever, and harder to detect than ever. From subtle persuasion to psychological tricks, these strategies are designed to bypass your awareness and make you think you're in control. But are you? In this video, we'll uncover 8 common manipulation tactics that most people fall for without even noticing. By understanding how they work, you'll learn to spot them, protect yourself, and regain control over your choices. Stay with us until the end. You might be surprised by how often these tactics are used in your everyday life. Let's dive in. Number 1. Unshaken embracing inherent worth. In a world that relentlessly tests our sense of self, where manipulation and external judgments seem ever present, Stoicism offers a liberating perspective. Our worth is intrinsic and unassailable. According to Stoic philosophy, no external opinion or circumstance can diminish our value unless we allow it. This profound insight provides a sturdy foundation for navigating life's challenges while remaining anchored to our true selves. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's greatest thinkers, frequently reflected on this idea in his meditations. As an emperor who faced constant scrutiny and pressure, Marcus understood the futility of seeking approval from others. He reminds us, "It never ceases to amaze me we all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." This paradox highlights how often we trade our peace for fleeting external validation. Stoicism encourages us to resist this impulse by grounding our sense of worth in our character, not in how we are perceived. The Stoics believed that our intrinsic value is rooted in our rational nature and our ability to live virtuously. They taught that virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline define a life well lived, regardless of external circumstances. In this light, judgments from others, whether praise or criticism, become irrelevant. These external evaluations reflect the opinions of others, not the reality of who we are. Maintaining this mindset requires recognizing manipulation for what it is: an attempt to shake our sense of self for someone else's gain. By staying true to our values and setting firm boundaries, we safeguard our inner tranquility. Refusing to engage in the games of validation frees us from the exhausting cycle of proving our worth to the world. Instead, we find strength in the quiet assurance that our value is inherent. This perspective also helps us approach relationships more thoughtfully. When we are no longer dependent on others to affirm our worth, we engage with them more authentically. Stoicism teaches that relationships should be based on mutual respect and understanding, not on attempts to validate or control. By recognizing our own value, we create the space to appreciate others for who they are, rather than how they make us feel about ourselves. Setting boundaries is a crucial part of this process. Boundaries are not barriers to connection, but tools to protect our inner peace. When we establish clear limits on what we will tolerate, we affirm our worth without aggression or conflict. This quiet confidence sends a powerful message: we value ourselves enough to stand firm, yet we remain open to genuine relationships that respect our autonomy. Living with this awareness requires practice and vigilance. The Stoics understood that external pressures are constant, and even the strongest among us can falter. That is why they advocated for daily reflection as a tool for reinforcing these principles. At the end of each day, Marcus Aurelius would review his actions and thoughts, asking himself whether he had remained true to his values. This habit of self-examination strengthens our ability to remain steady in the face of external judgment. Stoicism doesn't deny that external opinions can sting, or that manipulation can be subtle and pervasive. However, it offers a framework for rising above these influences. By anchoring ourselves in the belief that our worth is intrinsic, we gain the power to navigate life with clarity and confidence. This clarity allows us to act according to our principles rather than reacting to the expectations or opinions of others. Number 2. Facing passive aggression with stoic clarity. Passive-aggressive behavior is a subtle yet effective manipulation tactic. It hides behind ambiguity, sidesteps accountability, and often leaves its target confused or uncertain. This behavior thrives in the shadows of unclear communication, making it challenging to confront directly. The Stoics, however, offer timeless principles to navigate such situations with strength and integrity. Marcus Aurelius, known for his pursuit of truth and self-mastery, placed a high value on directness and clarity. In his meditations, he emphasized the importance of honesty and straightforwardness, not just in dealing with others, but also in one's internal dialogue. For Marcus, living in alignment with nature meant embracing truth, even when it was uncomfortable. Passive aggressiveness, by contrast, violates this principle by creating a fog of half-truths and unspoken frustrations. It relies on subtle jabs or veiled comments that undermine relationships and erode trust. The Stoic solution to such behavior begins with the commitment to clarity in communication. When faced with passive aggression, the first step is to recognize it for what it is: a manipulation that seeks to provoke a reaction without accountability. Instead of reacting emotionally or with frustration, Stoicism encourages a calm and deliberate approach. This means resisting the urge to meet ambiguity or aggression with aggression. Responding with clarity and directness diffuses the power of the tactic. One practical way to handle passive aggression is to seek clarity through direct questions. By addressing the behavior head-on, you can disrupt the ambiguity that fuels it. For example, if someone makes an unclear or pointed remark, ask them to elaborate in a neutral tone. Questions like, "Can you clarify what you mean?" or "Could you explain that further?" force the other person to confront their own words. This approach not only reveals the true intention behind the comment, but also sets a standard for open and honest communication. Stoicism also teaches the importance of maintaining personal integrity in these interactions. Passive-aggressive individuals often aim to destabilize their targets, drawing them into emotional conflict or self-doubt. A Stoic response prioritizes composure and self-betrayal. By refusing to engage in the emotional traps set by passive aggression, you protect your inner peace and avoid being drawn into the manipulator's game. This requires practice and vigilance, but it is a skill that grows stronger with intentional effort. Another key Stoic principle is to focus on what lies within your control. You cannot force others to communicate clearly or abandon their passive-aggressive tendencies, but you can choose how you respond. By committing to honest and direct communication, you uphold your own values and refuse to compromise your principles for the sake of conflict avoidance. This not only strengthens your character, but also sets an example for others to follow. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that a life of integrity demands courage and consistency. Facing passive-aggressive behavior with clarity and truthfulness may not always be easy, but it is a path aligned with Stoic virtue. By choosing clarity over confusion and honesty over manipulation, you maintain your personal power and foster healthier, more authentic relationships. Number 3. Grounding reality: a Stoic approach to overcoming manipulation. Gaslighting is a subtle yet insidious form of psychological manipulation that can erode a person's sense of reality. It works by planting seeds of doubt, leading individuals to question their own memories, perceptions, and judgment. Left unchecked, it creates a disorienting cycle of self-doubt, leaving one vulnerable to external control. Stoicism, with its focus on internal resilience and clarity of thought, offers a powerful framework for countering this manipulation and reclaiming one's sense of truth. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, taught that while external events lie beyond our control, our perceptions and judgments remain entirely within our power. This principle is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, the belief that we are not disturbed by events themselves, but by our interpretations of them. Gaslighting preys on this interpretation process, distorting reality to undermine confidence. The Stoics, however, remind us that we can reclaim authority over our thoughts by grounding ourselves in rational analysis and self-trust. To counter the effects of gaslighting, Stoicism advises grounding oneself in an unwavering sense of reality. This begins with trusting your own senses and reasoning. Instead of relying on others to validate your experiences or perceptions, focus on cultivating your ability to assess situations independently. The Stoics believed that clarity comes from detachment, from stepping back to observe events objectively rather than reacting emotionally. By practicing this discipline, one can resist attempts to distort reality. Self-reliance is another key Stoic virtue in the fight against manipulation. Gaslighting thrives on external validation, eroding self-confidence by making individuals overly dependent on others for their sense of truth. Stoicism teaches us to break free from this dependency by embracing autonomy of thought. This means consistently questioning the motives of others and evaluating their claims with reasoned skepticism. It also involves nurturing self-confidence through reflection, affirming the validity of your own experiences without needing external affirmation. Stoicism further emphasizes the importance of aligning perception with virtue. For the Stoics, clear judgment arises from living according to reason, courage, and integrity. When faced with gaslighting, applying these virtues means standing firm in the face of deceit and refusing to compromise your inner principles. Courage is particularly crucial, having the bravery to trust your perceptions even when they are challenged and distorted. Additionally, maintaining a Stoic perspective involves recognizing the boundaries of control. While you cannot always prevent others from attempting to manipulate you, you retain the power to decide how their efforts affect you. By consciously reframing your response, you can preserve your mental equilibrium and resist being drawn into their narrative. This process requires discipline but ultimately fortifies your inner world against external threats. The Stoic practice of daily reflection can also serve as a powerful tool in overcoming the effects of gaslighting. By reviewing events and your reactions at the end of each day, you create a habit of assessing the accuracy of your judgments and identifying areas where doubt or confusion might have crept in. This introspection strengthens your ability to discern truth from distortion over time, cultivating a mind that is resilient to manipulation. Overcoming gaslighting with Stoic principles ultimately comes down to reclaiming trust in yourself. The manipulation's strength lies in displacing your sense of certainty, but Stoicism reminds us that this certainty can be rebuilt through reasoned thought and deliberate practice. When you root your perception in rational analysis and independence, the grip of gaslighting loosens. You become grounded in a reality shaped by your virtues and judgments, not by the distortions of others. Through clarity, self-trust, and a commitment to reason, Stoicism offers a timeless guide to navigating the challenges of manipulation. By applying these principles, you can resist external distortions, maintain a grounded perception, and protect your autonomy of thought, finding peace in the stability of your own inner world. Number 4. The Stoic way: humor and the power of respect. Humor, in its finest form, is a bridge that connects people, offering joy, understanding, and a shared sense of humanity. Yet humor can sometimes be wielded as a weapon, subtly used to demean or belittle others under the guise of lightheartedness. Such jokes are often framed as harmless, giving the instigator plausible deniability, but their impact can leave scars on relationships and self-esteem. Stoicism, with its unwavering emphasis on respect and dignity, provides a clear response to this misuse of humor. The Stoics believed that true strength lies not in tearing others down but in building them up. Epictetus taught that respect for oneself and others forms the foundation of a virtuous life. To stoop to mockery or derision is not a reflection of strength but of insecurity. Stoicism challenges us to use our words as tools for connection, fostering harmony rather than division. It is through this lens that humor, when weaponized, must be addressed thoughtfully and firmly. When humor is used to belittle or disrespect, the Stoic approach is twofold: maintain composure and assert boundaries. The first step is to remain calm. As Marcus Aurelius advised, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. An insult disguised as a joke only has power if we allow it to unsettle us. By controlling our reaction, we demonstrate that our dignity is not at the mercy of others' words. The second step is to address the situation with clarity. If a remark oversteps boundaries, a Stoic would respond calmly yet directly, ensuring that respect is restored. This doesn't mean engaging in hostility or counterattacks, but rather using reason to illuminate the harm caused. For example, one might say, "I understand that was meant as a joke, but I find it hurtful." Let's keep our interactions respectful. Such a response not only diffuses the situation, but also reinforces mutual respect. Setting boundaries is not a sign of weakness, but of self-respect. Seneca, in his writings, frequently emphasized the importance of standing firm against behaviors that compromise one's integrity. Allowing disrespect to persist, even under the guise of humor, erodes both personal dignity and the quality of relationships. The Stoic seeks to cultivate interactions grounded in mutual respect and understanding, where humor uplifts rather than harms. Moreover, Stoicism encourages self-reflection when faced with such scenarios. If a comment stings, it is an opportunity to examine why it affects us. Does it touch on an insecurity or highlight an area for personal growth? By turning inward and addressing these vulnerabilities, we strengthen our resilience. This introspection is not about excusing harmful behavior, but about using every challenge as a chance to grow stronger. At its core, the Stoic response to harmful humor is rooted in virtue. Wisdom guides us to discern the intent behind words. Courage empowers us to speak up when lines are crossed. Temperance ensures our reactions are measured and constructive. Justice reminds us to treat others with the respect we ourselves expect. These principles together form a framework for navigating difficult interactions with grace and integrity. Humor should never be a tool for manipulation or harm. True humor brings people closer, fostering goodwill and understanding. When used otherwise, it undermines the dignity of all involved. As Stoics, we are called to rise above such pettiness, using our words to elevate and inspire rather than diminish. Number 5. Breaking free from emotional manipulation. In life, we often encounter situations where individuals play the victim card, a behavior designed to manipulate emotions and evade personal responsibility. This tactic, while often subtle, exerts a powerful influence by shifting focus away from accountability and leveraging the sympathy of others. From a Stoic perspective, such behavior represents an external distraction aimed at undermining our emotional balance and moral clarity. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's most profound teachers, emphasized that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can always control how we respond. He taught that playing the victim card is a choice to surrender responsibility and manipulate others through emotional appeal. For the Stoic, allowing oneself to be swayed by such tactics not only disturbs inner peace, but also compromises one's capacity for rational thought and just action. The Stoic response to victimhood is rooted in both compassion and discernment. Compassion does not mean enabling manipulation or ignoring the truth. It means approaching the situation with understanding, without losing sight of reason or integrity. Discernment, on the other hand, involves recognizing when someone is attempting to deflect responsibility and addressing it with clarity and fairness. By maintaining emotional detachment, the Stoic avoids falling prey to the emotional traps often set by this behavior. This approach requires cultivating inner strength and a clear sense of purpose. First, we must resist the impulse to react emotionally when faced with manipulative behavior. Stoicism teaches us to pause and reflect, evaluating the situation through the lens of reason rather than emotion. By doing so, we can respond in a way that aligns with our values and promotes a constructive outcome. Second, it is essential to communicate with integrity, expressing truth without hostility or frustration. A calm, honest response not only diffuses emotional manipulation but also sets a standard for accountability. Stoicism does not advocate for cold indifference in the face of victimhood. Instead, it calls for a balanced approach where empathy coexists with rationality. A Stoic recognizes that playing the victim often stems from deeper insecurities or unresolved struggles. While we should not enable such behavior, understanding its roots allows us to respond with wisdom and patience rather than judgment or anger. This balance ensures that we maintain our composure while encouraging others to take responsibility for their actions. Moreover, addressing victimhood effectively requires that we examine our own tendencies toward emotional manipulation. The Stoics remind us that self-reflection is key to personal growth. Are there moments when we too avoid accountability by shifting blame or seeking undue sympathy? Recognizing and correcting such tendencies within ourselves strengthens our character and helps us navigate similar behavior in others with greater clarity and confidence. Handling the victim card with a Stoic mindset ultimately leads to healthier relationships and stronger personal boundaries. It allows us to approach difficult situations with compassion and wisdom, fostering mutual respect and understanding. More importantly, it empowers us to protect our emotional equilibrium, ensuring that we remain steadfast in our commitment to truth, justice, and personal growth.
Number 6. The Stoic art of genuine generosity. In life, we often encounter acts of generosity that, upon closer inspection, come with strings attached. A gift is offered, a favor extended, but hidden within these gestures lies an expectation or demand, a subtle manipulation cloaked in kindness. Stoicism provides us with a lens to discern such motives and a framework to respond with wisdom and integrity. For the Stoics, true generosity is an expression of virtue, pure and selfless, untouched by the desire for reciprocity or control. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, emphasized that acts of kindness should arise naturally, as the sun gives light or a tree provides shade. To expect something in return, rather small, distorts the essence of generosity, turning it into a transaction rather than a virtuous act. This understanding challenges us to examine not only the intentions behind the generosity we receive, but also the motivations guiding our own actions. When faced with manipulative generosity, Stoicism encourages acknowledgement without resentment. Recognizing such behavior for what it is allows us to maintain clarity and avoid falling into the trap of unspoken obligations. Epictetus would advise that we focus on what lies within our control, our response. Instead of retaliating with bitterness or being ensnared by guilt, we can calmly set boundaries,
ensuring that we engage with others on terms that align with our values. Seneca, known for his reflections on wealth and generosity, offers further insight. He reminds us that kindness should always stem from wisdom, giving indiscriminately without discernment or consideration of the recipient's intentions risks enabling selfish or harmful behaviors. Seneca's teachings highlight the importance of thoughtful giving, acts of kindness rooted in virtue designed to uplift others without compromising our own integrity. Practicing genuine generosity as a Stoic means prioritizing virtue over appearances. It requires us to give freely, not for recognition or leverage, but as an expression of our moral character. This approach also demands vigilance in identifying manipulative tactics from others. By remaining anchored in our principles, we can respond to such gestures with strength and composure, refusing to let hidden agendas dictate our actions. Ultimately, Stoicism teaches that true generosity enriches the giver and the receiver alike, fostering a relationship of mutual respect rather than dependency. Whether we are offering or receiving kindness, the Stoic path urges us to act with wisdom, ensuring that our interactions remain grounded in authenticity and virtue. In doing so, we cultivate a generosity that is not only genuine, but deeply transformative for both ourselves and those we encounter. Number 7. Emotional sovereignty, a Stoic approach to manipulation. In interpersonal dynamics, one subtle but insidious tactic often employed is the minimization of another's feelings. This behavior seeks to invalidate the emotional experiences of others, ultimately asserting control over how they perceive and express their emotions. It's a manipulation that undermines autonomy, leaving individuals doubting their feelings and, by extension, their worth. For the Stoics, this tactic strikes at the heart of their philosophy of self-mastery and emotional resilience. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of recognizing and validating our own emotions as essential components of human experience. Contrary to the misconception that Stoicism rejects feelings altogether, the philosophy teaches us to acknowledge our emotions without allowing them to dominate us. To the Stoics, emotions are signals, guides to understanding our internal state and the values we hold. What matters is not suppressing these feelings, but responding to them with clarity, rationality, and self-discipline. When confronted with the deliberate minimization of feelings, a Stoic approach begins with standing firm in our emotional truth. Acknowledging our emotions is not a weakness, but an act of strength. To allow others to dictate how we should feel is to relinquish control over our inner lives, a choice that contradicts the core Stoic principle of autonomy over one's mind. In such moments, the Stoic response is not to argue or seek validation from the manipulator, but to turn inward, grounding oneself in the certainty of personal experience and rational evaluation. Epictetus often reminded his students that we are not disturbed by events themselves, but by our interpretations of them. The same principle applies to emotional manipulation. When someone attempts to dismiss or invalidate our feelings, we can choose how to interpret their actions. Instead of internalizing their dismissal, we can recognize it as a reflection of their inability to engage empathetically. Their behavior is their responsibility, not ours. By reframing the interaction in this way, we maintain our emotional equilibrium and safeguard our autonomy. Marcus Aurelius provides further insight in his Meditations, where he reflects on the importance of responding to others with understanding rather than anger. If someone minimizes your emotions, it may stem from ignorance, defensiveness, or their own insecurities. Viewing their actions through a lens of compassion, while maintaining your boundaries, can prevent their behavior from unsettling your inner peace. Marcus would counsel that while you cannot control the actions of others, you can control your response, a response rooted in patience,
wisdom, and self-respect. Stoicism also advocates for a resolute commitment to self-confidentiality. Seneca wrote extensively about the importance of self-reliance and the futility of seeking external affirmation. When someone seeks to undermine your emotions, their opinion does not diminish the reality or validity of your experiences. Your emotions are yours to own and understand, not for others to dictate or diminish. By validating your own feelings, you strip manipulative tactics of their power and reaffirm your emotional sovereignty. Moreover, Stoicism teaches us to draw strength from adversity. Encounters with emotional invalidation, while unpleasant, present opportunities to practice resilience and fortify our sense of self. Each instance becomes a test of our ability to remain steadfast in our principles and composed in the face of challenges. By maintaining composure and clarity, we demonstrate that our inner peace is impervious to external disruptions.
Number 8. The Stoic way to disarm manipulation. In moments of conflict, there are those who employ a facade of calm superiority as a tool for control. This tactic, under the guise of maintaining peace, subtly undermines others by projecting an air of composure that dismisses and invalidates genuine emotions. To the Stoics, however, true calm is not a weapon to wield against others. It is an inner state cultivated for self-understanding and resilience. When faced with such manipulation, it is crucial to recognize the true nature of the behavior. Gaslighting in the form of calm superiority is not about fostering peace, but about exerting control by diminishing others. It provokes frustration, urging its target to react emotionally, which is then used as evidence of instability or weakness. For the Stoic, this is an opportunity to practice discernment and emotional balance. Epictetus teaches us that while we cannot control how others behave, we retain full authority over how we choose to respond. The key is to avoid being drawn into the manipulator's game. By grounding yourself in the principles of self-retreat and awareness, you sidestep the emotional traps laid by such tactics. Instead of competing in a battle of who appears calmer, the Stoic prioritizes genuine inner tranquility, recognizing that outward calm means little if it is rooted in manipulation or falsehood. To counteract such situations, validate your own emotions rather than seeking validation from the manipulator. Acknowledge how you feel without shame or defensiveness. Anger or frustration, when observed mindfully, becomes an insight into the situation rather than a reaction that clouds judgment. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the importance of staying anchored in one's principles, especially during moments of interpersonal conflict. For him, self-mastery wasn't about suppressing emotions, but about understanding and channeling them toward constructive action. Practicing this form of inner calm creates an unassailable position. When you refuse to engage in the manipulative dynamics of calm superiority, the tactic loses its power. The manipulator expects an emotional reaction. Denying them that satisfaction not only preserves your own peace, but also dismantles their strategy. Seneca emphasized that true strength lies in remaining unshaken by the provocations of others, seeing them as opportunities to refine your character. This approach doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It means taking ownership of them. Stoicism teaches that emotions are natural and serve as signals to guide our understanding of the world. The goal is not to eliminate emotion, but to ensure that it does not control us. By acknowledging your feelings and staying grounded in your values, you reclaim the power that gaslighting seeks to strip away. True calm, as understood by the Stoics, is deeply personal. It is a state of inner alignment where your thoughts, values, and actions are in harmony. This calm cannot be feigned or performed. It is earned through self-reflection and disciplined practice. Unlike the superficial calm used as a tool for manipulation, Stoic calm is unshakable because it does not depend on the opinions and reactions of others. It is rooted in a profound understanding of what is within your control and a deliberate letting go of what is not. When encountering someone who uses calm as a weapon, remember that their actions reflect their own struggles, not yours. They may seek control because they lack it internally. Recognizing this allows you to approach the situation with compassion rather than hostility, while still standing firm in your own principles. The Stoics remind us that we are not obligated to mirror the behavior of others. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Animals have evolved incredible tactics for survival, from deceptive camouflage to psychological tricks that baffle both predators and prey. These fascinating behaviors are a reminder of how nature is a battlefield of wits, constantly pushing every creature to adapt and outsmart its rivals. Much like in the wild, understanding these strategies can help us recognize manipulation in our own lives, whether it's subtle persuasion or outright control. If you found these insights intriguing, imagine what else the animal kingdom has to offer. There's always more to uncover about the mysterious and cunning ways of nature. Stay curious, stay informed, and let's keep exploring these incredible survival stories together. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating content. There's so much more to discover. Let's dive into it.